Transition Tuesdays for this Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here today. I'm quite aware you could have been anywhere in this world today. I know you could have been anywhere in this world today, but you decided to be here with me. And I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, we have an action-packed show. We have a special guest, as you see on the screen here. We're going to introduce this special guest in a minute. But before we do that, I always like to state my intentions. And my intention is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life's transition. So that's what we do here on Transition Tuesdays. And speaking of honest conversations, I have a special guest here today. And I'm going to go over her extensive bio. So again, it's a lot to read, ladies and gentlemen, but you'll be glad I read it because this person is a phenomenal person on this screen. Okay, so hold on one second. Just want to make sure if anybody's checking in. Not yet. Okay, so let's continue. So my special guest has a brick and mortar storefront. She's a brick and mortar storefront owner who just celebrated the 9th anniversary of Sweet Candy Cafe in historic downtown Lumberton, North Carolina on November 27th, 2021. Now keep in mind, Sweet Candy Cafe is a black-owned business in the heart of historic downtown Lumberton, North Carolina. And my special guest is a proud North Carolinian. I'm not sure if that's a word, but it's going to be a word today. A North Carolinian growing up in Lumberton, North Carolina. And for those who don't know, Lumberton, North Carolina is very close to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, ladies and gentlemen. So, my special guest is a graduate of Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, where she earned her BA in Sociology and was named a Vanguard Fellow in 2019. She received her MBA from the University of Phoenix and completed the Bank of America Institute for Women's Entrepreneurship program at the prestigious Cornell University in 2019 as well. And finally, last but not least, my special guest has worked with the federal government for almost 20 years, but her heart is in the confectionery business. So ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, please help me welcome the sweetest person I know, and she will be the sweetest person you know in a few, Miss Felicia Evans Long. Felicia, hold on a second. Let me give you your props. Hold on. Let me get some claps. Hold on. Hey. What's up, Felicia? How are you?
Russell, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem at all. I'm so excited to have you on today. I tell you, this is a long time coming. You're an extraordinary person, and I can't wait to, share some moments with you and some minutes with you as well, too. So, as you know, I like to play music for my guests, right? So, I'm going to play this little tune here, and I want you to just talk to me about when you heard this song. I just want to get your thoughts on this song, okay? So, hang on one second. Hopefully, this goes through. All right, hold on one second as I put my DJ hat on. Okay, here we go. Can you hear that?
I can.
All right. All right, let's let the chorus rock. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna cut that off. All right. The song is fancy. So, do you like that song by chance, or?
I like the song, but I don't know anything about hip hop. I'm an old head. Excuse me, I'm a Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, that kind of girl. But I do like that song though.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it reminded me of you. Fancy, hair done, nails done, everything did. That kind of reminds me of you. So that's why I just played it for you.
Thank you, Russ.
No problem. Hey, so we, and I appreciate you, stealing a couple minutes from you today, Felicia. So, I just wanted to start off with some questions, and let me just check in. But before we do that, I'm going to check in, see who's on the check-in here. Oh, we got the voice of the Jaspers. We got Uncle Smoothie, Chris Williams joining us. What's going on, Smooth? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my friend. Welcome. So, Felicia, now, some people call it confectionery. Some people call it candy. But what got you started in the candy business, number one? And number two, I want to know, and the world wants to know your favorite candy. But, talk to us about how you got started in the candy business.
Wow. So confectionery candy has just always been like a love for me. Growing up, in the projects, I would sell like ices and ice cream cones out of my house. 25 cents, so every like 10 minutes somebody was knocking on the door wanting to buy something.
Right.
And I just knew that, I just had a love for sweets, being, born and raised in North Carolina. I just always had, a love for sweets. Some people may call it junk food. So, look, I'm guilty.
Me too.
So in terms of like my favorite candy, I like anything spicy, and I'm a big gumball girl. I love flavored gumballs, so anything that's chewable, like that's right up my alley.
I see. And everybody, who's joining us today, I want you to type in your favorite, like maybe like childhood candy. That'd be cool. So I start. So you like the gumballs. I like the Now-a-laters.
Okay.
Yep, save some now, eat some for later. Now, I remember the commercial like it was yesterday. So that's like my favorite. So, I want everybody to join and, send us your favorite childhood candy, on that. Okay, cool.
That's a classic. Now-a-laters is definitely a classic.
Yep, and still around, right? The Now-a-laters are still around to this day.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Cool. All right. So, Felicia, I saw on your website, sweetcandycafe.com. I saw on the website. We're going to plug the website as well, throughout the day. But I saw on your website you have a University of Phoenix video because you graduated. You got your MBA from University of Phoenix, and I want to share with the audience who might not know this particular fact here because we just deal with facts here, ladies and gentlemen. But Felicia's video, University of Phoenix video about her life, tells her story, has over 737,000 views to it. So, and congratulations to you on that, Felicia. So, you're welcome. So, what do you love about being in the candy business?
I would have to say the people, Russ. I am a lover of people, be it adults, be it children that are coming into the store. I'm a lover of the seniors. When seniors come in, they're always looking for like a nice soft peppermint or butterscotch. So I think just the lover of business is pretty much what sustains us. I like to see people walk in and, they can smell that hot popcorn and them warm peanuts. So just the excitement of customers is coming through the door. I think that really does it for me.
Gotcha. Understood. Hey, on the check-in, we got Tanya checking in on the check-in. What's going on, Tanya? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Oh, man. You got people representing for you there, Felicia. They're coming out for you, which is a great thing. I love it. Hey, so Felicia, what challenges have you faced during this COVID era? And how do you deal with these challenges? So, what type of challenges have you faced so far?
Yeah. So, I'll tell you, it's been difficult, from a small business standpoint. There's definitely been challenges. And like I always tell people, graduate school don't prepare you for these really rough, bumpy roads.
Yeah.
I lost my husband and brother in the same year, which was 2014.
Yeah.
And then the city of Lumberton experienced like a flood in 2016. I'm sorry, a hurricane Matthew came through in 2016, and then in 2018 we had Hurricane Florence. So it's like every 2 years we were experiencing something, and then COVID comes, March 2020. So it's been tough, but I think consistency is the key. If you have a love for it, if you have a passion for it, I think that keeps you going. You figure out ways to kind of like navigate. So when COVID came through, last year, we kicked out more sales online than ever. Because we couldn't be open to the public. Right. So we just had to get really creative, in our efforts. And I think that worked out for us, and it taught us, like a new way of packaging up the product. It taught us that, our teams can be there and just process orders. So I think it was a learning curve for me as well as my team.
How was the transition process for you? Because as you know, you're on Transition Tuesdays. Was it a smooth transition to handle all those obstacles and hurdles for you, or was it a tough transition?
Well, it was tough. I mean, I'm thankful, to the SBA,
Mm-hmm.
Small Business Administration.
Yeah.
That we got a lot of great support from the SBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I travel between Maryland and North Carolina. So, yeah, like I said, graduate school don't prepare you for this, and you just kind of get creative. You sit still and you come up with a plan, and
Mm-hmm.
you ask yourself, what do you do to make it work? And I think that that's what I'm most grateful for. And I can't even just take all the credit, Russ. I have an amazing team, an amazing support system.
Mm-hmm.
That helps me tremendously. So
Right.
this is a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot dare take all the credit. And even
Yeah.
one of my team members is in Arizona, and she does a lot of our website. So she was constantly building and adding on,
Mm-hmm.
to our website, from the Arizona location. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a team effort. It's a team effort, and being real with your team about what's going on. Like we got to hustle.
Yeah.
How do I keep my team employed? During such a tough time of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so online orders, I think sustain us, and I'm super thankful for the people who shopped online last year, because that was a huge blessing, because even in the midst of COVID, the commercial storefront rent never stopped.
Yeah.
We still had an obligation to pay our commercial storefront rent, so we didn't get a reprieve in that. So
Right.
we had to be creative about how to keep the revenue going,
Mm-hmm.
because we still had expenses.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, online orders is great, and candy makes a great Christmas gift. I mean, don't forget that too. and it takes a village, like you're saying. It takes a village. No one could do it by themselves. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, Felicia, how do you balance multiple businesses? Because if people don't know, you have your candy store and you have a hair salon as well, right adjacent, right next door to your candy store. So how are you able to be the ultimate juggler? Because I don't know how you do it, but you're able to juggle. But how are you able to do that balance?
Well, as most of my friends and my sorority sisters will tell you, like, I don't sleep. Like, yeah. So it's I'm always like up, like preparing like a list of projects or a checklist of things we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now for the candy store, like I'm already in Valentine's Day. So,
Yeah.
I just had to meet my Valentine's Day order in November. So
Mm-hmm.
we're always like, a few seasons ahead. So the confectionery industry kind of forces you to think ahead,
Mm-hmm.
And so now, like, right after the new year come in, our Valentine's Day order will be arriving,
Right.
So, this industry forces you to think ahead. And in terms of the salon, the salon was just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to actually, I really would love to have the whole block that I'm on. But
Right. That's the goal, though. That's the goal, right? To have the old block. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have the block. But the salon was just I wanted to make the whole block like really fun. Like a upscale place to kind of like come and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
A beautiful place where people can kind of come and kind of get their hair done. And that works out really good, because a lot of the hairstylists that we have there are like, there's generational differences.
Mm-hmm.
So you got one stylist that comes in at like 7:00 because she has like older clients, so they get there super early.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the millennial stylist that come in, like 11 or 12 o'clock. So it kind of just works itself out.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a full gut to that building, and I'm really excited, how it turned out. So it's been a learning curve for me. I don't do hair, but I've learned a lot about like construction and drywall and sheetrock.
Wow.
All of it. So it just I learned a lot, in that process of building out the store and also the salon.
Mm-hmm. So Felicia, and that's great to hear too. So Felicia, now we all know you're from Lumberton, North Carolina. Talk to me talk to the viewers, Transition Army, about how was it growing up in a small city like Lumberton, North Carolina?
Oh man, so I would say it was good. I had an older brother, and sadly he's passed away.
Yeah.
But it was good. My mom kind of knew everybody because she had worked at the same job for like 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
and and I had the kind of aunts and uncles that kind of aunt and uncle that knew like a lot of people, so you had to always be on your best behavior,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because the down south rearing is very different than kind of what you see in the city.
Yeah.
And but I'm grateful, when people was outside playing, my mom had me in the kitchen cooking,
Mm-hmm,
so yeah, so there's definitely some pros and cons,
mm-hmm.
and I think living in Maryland kind of has and having my southern roots, it has really helped just kind of shape the person that I am, because it gives me like a healthy balance, being a Southern girl.
Absolutely, and I can contest to this. Now I've been down, I've been down to Lumberton, North Carolina with Felicia, and she is the queen of Lumberton, North Carolina, not the mayor. She is the queen. I can contest to that. I saw it firsthand when the queen is in town.
I know the mayor, but I'm the queen.
I see. So, Felicia, talk to us about the Candy Kids Wear Blazers program and how you're shaping the next generation of entrepreneurs. So, talk to us a little bit about that program, which is a very unique and a cool program that you run.
Oh, thank you, Russell. So we founded the Candy Kids Wear Blazer program
Mm-hmm.
in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not a mommy, but I did it because I have a love for children,
Yeah.
and especially girls,
Mm-hmm.
and so we wanted to create an environment where we was able to teach them about entrepreneurship, but we wanted to do it in a really kid-friendly environment.
Mm-hmm.
So we teach them how to count, and that's like the lesson of inventory. So if you sell 5 now laters, and you have 10, how many do you have left? Or if you have 25 lollipops, and then you sell 15, how many do you have left?
Right.
So I teach them, how to keep count, how to keep record, like I said, all in a kid-friendly way. And we talk about the different the different series of candy, taste, texture, and temperature, because when you put it in your mouth, when you put some Pop Rocks in your mouth, what does that taste inside your mouth? So we want them to kind of have an idea, how candy tastes,
Mm-hmm.
the different kinds of candy, and it's really great. Every girl is given a business blazer,
Wow.
and we use different variations. We use a candy necklace as a set of pearls.
Okay.
And we spent a full day with them bi-monthly, and the parents, man, the feedback from the parents is just phenomenal. And to your viewers, if they ever want to see anything about the Candy Kids Wear Blazer program, that's on our website.
Mm-hmm.
And like every cohort, I think our cohorts ended, believe it or not, in March 2020, right when COVID hit. We had just had a session,
Uh-huh.
and we just decided just to give it a little break, due to COVID and everything. But yeah, so and at that point we were on cohort number 4.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been a fantastic program
Mm-hmm.
for young girls, and I mean this next generation, they're going to be future presidents,
Yeah.
future physicians,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they want to be,
Right.
and I think that that Felicia can leave a little footprint, on their life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Have you had any success stories of those who have come up in the program? Have they come back, or are they old enough now? Maybe they might be in high school now, or something like that. Just yet, or
Well, because when we get them, their ages is like 5 to 8.
Whoa.
So some of them are just getting 13.
wow.
So
Okay.
you see the transformation from you was in the program when you were 6 and now you're 13. So you see them they're growing up and they're making the transition. Or some of them were in the program when they were 8, and you see that they are really growing up and really taking shape, and coming into their own.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's refreshing to know that I can have a little piece of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you definitely have a hand in that process. Yeah, because never know. They could be presidents or vice presidents, or what have you. They could be whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think your program can jumpstart just to have that entrepreneurial spirit, that was passed on that you had when you were younger. Because I've heard you've told me stories about your entrepreneurship when you were, a little person, a lad, what I mean, as they say. So, that's good stuff.
It spearheads. By the time I got to undergrad, I was frying chicken and selling now laters, out the dormitory.
You were hustling back then.
But my RA was really cool, and I always saved her some chicken wings. So that was cool. And so
Right.
I just it just spilled over into like, my personality in terms of who I am. I like to spoil people, and I do that to my friends, my family, my customers when they come in. Yeah, they're gonna buy candy, but they're gonna leave with more than candy. They'll leave with some samples, whatever. So nobody leaves empty-handed, and that brings me joy. So.
Absolutely, yep. And I seen that firsthand when the queen is back. Oh my God, it's like a it's like royalty coming to that store. I never seen anything like it. So you guys got to come down and enjoy that in Wilmington. Definitely got to do that. So I see Tanya commented. She said her favorite childhood candy is Now or Later's. So just like me. So yeah. So were you surprised to hear that from Tanya?
Well, Tanya is like the sister that my mom didn't have. Tanya and I have been like best girlfriends like forever. At least since like the 8th grade.
Wow.
And and we're now approaching some big birthdays in December and January. So I'll leave it at that. Big birthdays.
Right.
So we have like, exceptionally good history. I always like to joke and say Tanya works for candy, because Tanya has been with the store since we opened in 2012.
Wow.
And she just refuses to take a salary, so she does what she do out of love, and I love her for that. Yeah.
Shout out to you, Tanya. Yes, that is great, man. Just being childhood friends and doing that as well. And now we got Uncle Smoothie chiming in here, Felicia. He says his favorite. Well, he says cashews. I don't know if that's his favorite candy, but I guess he just wanted to say cashews. So favorite candy, Mr. Smooth. Favorite candy, not cashews. Doesn't qualify as candy. So we'll move on. We'll wait for your response there. But so Felicia, for your candy business, tell us about the Sweets and Snacks Expo, which happens to be, ladies and gentlemen, the largest candy conference in the world, not the country, the world, held in Chicago, Illinois. So every May. So talk to us about that expo. Do you have to be invited for that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's funny because in this candy business, like, I read the candy magazines just like they Jet and Ebony. I don't even know if they make that anymore. But I'm a reader of all the candy magazines, like from front to back.
Right.
And so I ran across a grant in 2014 for the Sweets and Snacks Expo, and I was like, what is this? I'll just apply,
right.
And I was awarded the grant. And and so that's how I was introduced to the Sweets and Snacks Expo. So I applied for the grant in the fall of 2014, and I went off to Chicago in the spring of 2015, and I have gone every year since. Of course, with COVID, there was a pause in going because with the flying restrictions. But it is literally the biggest candy conference in the world. And in 2019 I had an opportunity to be like one of their special guests who actually like spoke to like the next generation of like people that are making confectionery and candies and stuff. So that was really exciting. And it's just important to me that even on a big scale like the expo, I want people to know that small businesses exist, because sometimes small businesses can really like get lost, or people don't really recognize us in the midst of a big conference like that. So it was important for me to let people know that, hey, we really exist. And I always tell, and Tanya has actually been to the candy conference with me before, and if you don't mind getting up, eating some chocolate and some Lassie Taffy and all that for breakfast, like, you can roll with me, because the top of the morning is like a lot of seminars, of course, but it's like you could easily be in a sugar rush by like 10:30. It's just that much candy. I mean, it's massive. And so we sell a lot of international candy as well in our candy store, from the Netherlands, from Sweden, from Italy, because a lot of these confectionery companies, we meet them in Chicago, and we've developed like a rapport, with each other. As a matter of fact, some of them actually donated some candy to our store anniversary last month, of course, to give our customers. So when you attend these conferences and stuff, you get to build a different kind of relationship. You get to expand your candy palette. You know what I mean? So I mean, and I don't knock like Snicker bars and Reese's peanut butter cups and Kit Kats. Like, I don't knock that because we all grew up with that.
Yep.
But when I say that the world has like so much other confectionery to offer, simple, right? You know, so right. It's crazy. It's crazy. So one of my good girlfriends, Dee, she came to the store a couple weeks ago, and she showed up with her Atkins bar. I was like, you actually bought an Atkins bar to a candy store? So before she left, she was like sampling some of everything. So, but yeah, so the candy conference just really, it was really the gateway for me. It was the gateway for me to just understanding confectionery on a whole different level. And that one grant, you know, allowed me the opportunity, and the individual that gave me the grant, they're from Wisconsin, and I still keep in touch with him and his daughter, like, to this day.
Wow.
I mean, super supportive, and that's what a small business need. We need the support. I mean, we're not like the big box stores, like you know the big box stores. You know, we are small business.
Yep.
So, but yes, I'm just thankful for that journey.
Yeah, understood. So, Felicia, I know you mentioned this has sweets. Do they have snacks? Do they have like popcorn there too? Like,
oh my God, yeah. So that's a whole nother jive.
Okay.
I mean,
wow. Because it's
whatever toppings you want on the popcorn, you know.
Okay.
Like, they got. I mean, everybody knows Garrett's, but I mean, when I just say it's a whole nother, like, if you want like a Cajun popcorn, you know, whatever, like they got it. So yeah, it's heaven. It's sweets and snacks. So I mean, from chocolates to sweet and salty, to peanut, to beef jerky. You know, I just had some beef jerky a couple of months ago where this vendor sent me, I don't know, maybe 30 packs. Like, hey, Felicia, can you sample the jerky and let us know what you think?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, they're super generous because they want you to try their products. You know, they want you to like what they what they're selling. So
yeah. So next time, so in May, now I want you to put me in your bag because I want to go and I want to sample all the popcorn. You know, I like the sweets, but you know, I get down with the popcorn. So if you can fit me in your bag, I'm there.
I got you covered.
Okay.
Top of the list.
Oh, I appreciate that. No problem. So, Felicia, now, how do you feel about your upcoming 10th year anniversary of Sweet Candy Cafe that's slated in November 26, 2022? I just want to get your thoughts beforehand because, again, you're going to be celebrating a decade of excellence. I mean, for small businesses and, you know, people of color, like women, these opportunities are few and far between. But you're about to embark on a decade of excellence. So I want to get your feelings before that time even comes.
I don't know, Russ. I'm excited. I know what we did for the 5-year. We really had a big party. I mean, we had a daytime party and a nighttime party, and we had Dupre Kelly from Lords of the Underground. You know, he came down from Newark.
Right.
And it's just we rented a 18-wheeler video truck where kids can play video games. So I don't know. I don't know. I've got some ideas in mind, and I have a team that I'm working with. But yeah, so I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful. You know, before we even opened in 2012, you know, our first store, you know, caught fire, and we lost almost everything. And then to think that, you know, now to be marking like the 10th year. It's crazy, Russell. It's crazy. Yeah, so I have a lot of things that I would want to do. So I'm just gonna have to just continue to keep it in prayer and advisement from my team and kind of see what direction to go in. You know, as my friends and sorority sisters would tell you, you know, Felicia have us doing everything. You know, so.
No.
You know, when I get excited, my thoughts just kind of go all over the place.
Right.
But But yeah, so I'll just have to, to figure it out. But I want it to be something fun and festive, for the whole community can enjoy, and the whole city of Lumberton, because I've gotten many grants from the city of Lumberton, so I want to have a 10-year anniversary where it is totally inclusive, so I can really just thank, the city. I've met different mayors that have been to the city, and one of the mayors I know personally has passed away, and now working with the new mayor. So people have been super supportive. The chamber, we have our ribbon cuttings. So I want to have a 10-year anniversary where it can be really inclusion of the people that support us, as well as the city officials.
Understood. Well, we got checking in. We got my guy Cliff checking in. He says, "Hey guys, welcome to Transition Tuesdays, Cliff. Thank you so much for joining us, sir." And Tanya says her favorite adult candy is caramel creams. I think it is. Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Caramel.
Always in Tanya's Christmas stocking too, by the way.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, that's perfect. Hey, so Felicia, I got one more question for you before I have you give out your contact information that I want to ask you. Now, if you weren't doing confectionery or in the candy business, what do you think you would be doing if you weren't doing what you're doing now?
Okay, so if I go back to growing up as a kid, I would say I would have been like an airline stewardess.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I love when I like a nice blazer.
Right.
I like to see them, in that navy suit,
And those wings. Okay, I got you. Wow.
Yeah. So, and probably in my adult life, if it wasn't a candy store, it would be something vintage.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good vintage handbag.
Mm-hmm.
A good vintage handbag. So,
Okay.
so yeah, if it wasn't candy, it would probably be some type of vintage store. Like I like vintage, like straw bags. I like vintage, just handbags in general.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it would definitely be some type of vintage store.
Oh, okay. Wow, I was surprised to hear that. Stewardess. I would never have guessed that. Man.
Yeah.
So Felicia, okay, gotcha. So last thing, just give out your contact information for the people out there, about Sweet Candy Cafe. Just give out your just give out your information, because I want people to actually flood the website. I want us to crash the website, because they're going to be ordering so much on Sweet Candy Cafe. But just go over your contact information for us though, Felicia.
Sure. So first, I want to just say thank you, Russell. This has been super excited, because I am so behind the scenes,
Yes.
Kind of business owner. So coming to this platform was exciting, and also great for our small business. Sweet Candy Cafe is located in the heart of historic downtown Lumberton, North Carolina. And when I say the heart of downtown, if you're traveling, to Florida. So Chris, when you're traveling to Florida, we are right off Interstate 95. You can take like 3 or 4 different exits, and that will bring you to the downtown area. Like, you can't miss us. We're like the red awning, located at 212 North Chestnut Street. Again, Lumberton, North Carolina. If you're going to the beach, for the holidays coming up, we are like at the Myrtle Beach and our candy store is like an hour from each other. So it's literally in a really good location. And I like to say and tell people that everybody likes the heart of the city. And Sweet Candy Cafe is definitely, in the heart of the city, and we're super proud, about that. And then if you ain't driving and you just want to be somewhere in Queens and want to shop online, or somewhere down in Florida.
That's right.
So we're located at sweetcandycafe.com. Just sweet like it sounds, SWEET, Candy Cafe, CAFE.com. Mm-hmm. And, we have a little bit of everything. If you see anything on the website that is sold out, I want to just say the small businesses has been hit just like the big box stores.
Yeah.
Some of our candy comes from other countries, and a lot of the shipments, are delayed. So, if you see something that's just, sold out or whatever, just know that, it is coming. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I think every big store, every small business has been affected, by COVID, and especially this time of the year. It's been tough. I know my vendors personally. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I have almost a 10-year relationship with my vendors, and they're like, Felicia, we have so many things that are just on back order that we're waiting for. So I think everybody's kind of like in that same phase. So just so you know, if there's anything that you don't see, just know that we are working hard with our vendors to get certain things in. Or you can email me, a question about an old school candy that you don't see on the website. Say, hey, Felicia, can you get this candy? And I'm at Sweet Candy Cafe NC for North Carolina at gmail.com. So Sweet Candy Cafe, like it sounds, and then NC, the letters NC for North Carolina at Gmail. Shoot me an email. I mean, if you got something that you want to sample, shoot me an email. I will mail you a sample of stuff because we want you to like what you buy. So, and we have a lot of yummy stuff. And if you want to say, hey, Felicia, I just want to expand my palette, just send me something that I wouldn't have, thought to buy. We just got this good candy from Australia just last week, 2 weeks ago during the store anniversary. And it's like, yes, Australia, so yummy. For those that love dark chocolate, I mean. And this stuff is it's good. So I get excited.
Yep.
But that's what I do.
Yeah, and you got it all too. So, one last thing before we head out. Now we got Nicole joining. What's going on, Nicole? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We got a newbie here. Yes, welcome. Well, they are representing for the Queen of Lumberton. They just represented. And also, I'll be remiss too now, guys. When you go on the website, sweetcandycafe.com. Again, like I always mention at the end of the program, Sweet Candy Cafe is a proud sponsor of Transition Tuesdays. And when you go on the website, check out that video, University of Phoenix, about Felicia's story. I mean, if you want to be inspired, you take a look at that. You just add to the viewership. We trying to make that 1 million, right, Felicia? We trying to get it to 1 million views.
That's right. And I just want to say hello to Nicole. Nicole was our publicist and wrote all our press releases for 7 years, and then now me and Jill kind of do it, but Nicole is she taught me so much about constructing a good press release, and Nicole is a professional writer. And Nicole, thank you so much. Nicole is like a sister to me as well. She's like extended family, and she's right here in DC. So I love you, Nick.
That is so cool. That is so cool. So again, like I told everybody, ladies and gentlemen, for having Felicia on, and again, she's the sweetest person I know. So now she's going to be the sweetest person that you know as well too. So again, Felicia, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know you don't do these interviews, quite deal. So, but again, you did good. You did good. I'm so glad to have you, tell your inspirational story. So again, thank you so much for coming on, Felicia. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Russ, for the opportunity, and thank you to your listeners and everybody who kind of chimed in, everybody who watches the replay. I just want to say thank you so much. As a small business owner, we just marked our 9th store anniversary, on November 27th during Shop Small Saturday, year 9, like crazy, cool. So excited about that. Yep. And I just want to say, I know you had a lot of friends, Russ, some of your Manhattan College colleagues and classmates and people, your personal friends from Johnston's and everybody that who has supported the store. I just want to personally say thank you for your orders. I mean, I can't even tell you, like, just your generosity, during our anniversary was bananas. And I just want to say how I am truly appreciative, because that was a big deal for us. So, Russell, thank you for sharing our small business, with your friends, personally and professionally.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And now we're going to crash the website. That's how many orders we're going to get coming up. So I'm looking forward to that. Thanks again, Felicia. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
All righty. That was Miss Felicia Evans Long joining us today on Transition Tuesdays. Inspiring. I tell you, inspiring person. Oh man. I mean, she is the essence of sweetness. So she's in the right business. With the confectionery and the candy business as well. So thank you, Felicia, for coming on. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we were able to make you laugh, smile, and think during this broadcast, my good friends, you have accomplished something major today. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory, ladies and gentlemen. As I'm going to put on my DJ hat, and we're going to play something out. All right, hold on one second. Coming up. Hey! Yes, sir! Oh man, perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Transition Tuesdays each and every Tuesday in which you do. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. And you can check out our past interviews along with this interview coming up shortly as I get calls. We're trying to wrap it up here. But again, you can check out past interviews and present interviews that I'm going to post on our YouTube channel. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me just take this call. Hold on a second. 1 second. Gotta call you right back. Trying to wrap it up. Okay. All right. All right. This is live, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do here. Okay. So again, you can watch past episodes and episodes that I'm going to post on our YouTube channel, Transition Tuesdays. And when you're on the channel, please like and subscribe before you leave the channel. Very important that you do so. You can follow me on Instagram at Russ Will Transitions. That's Russ Will Transitions with an S. So just follow me. And major super duper shout out to our special guest Felicia Evans Long. Read them. When you go on the website, ladies, and I recommend you do. When you're ordering the candy, but make sure you take a look at that inspirational video that she has for the University of Phoenix. I mean, over close to 1 million people have seen that video, and you will be inspired once you see her story, and you'll be more inclined to buy candy because it really means a great deal, especially for small businesses. So again, shout out to Felicia for coming on today. Appreciate you. And also, like I always mention, guests of Transition Tuesdays receive a gift candy pack, compliments of our sponsor, Sweet Candy Cafe. So we just had Felicia on, and as you know, Sweet Candy Cafe is the home of Southern Sweetness, located in downtown North Carolina, Lumberton, North Carolina. So after the show, we're gonna flood the website, Transition Army. Head to sweetcandycafe.com and get you some confectionery goodies today. Okay, they ship home and abroad like we talked about. Again, there's candy for everybody. It makes a great gift. So make sure you go to sweetcandycafe.com to get your candy today. So ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, as we always say in parting, happy transitioning, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, everybody. God bless.